So the physical side, like I said, so no food at all, only consumed water every day. So about 120 fluid ounces. So I have a 40-ounce water bottle. I would do that for 3 times a day. I would go through 40 ounces during my morning workout. I would throw some Himalayan salt in there just to get some extra sodium. So a few pinches of that, and then 80 ounces the rest of the day. So 2 more bottles full, and then I'd put that Relight powder, a scoop in each of those, which got really old by the end of the fast. And doing it again, I might need to figure out a little different strategy to not get that old. I think Louis recommends like distilled water. I just use tap water, which may be why, but yeah, just figure out something to make that taste a little better. But definitely kept the body feeling good going through it, especially working out again. I took magnesium, like I said, a little extra dose before bed. And then I also did 10 grams of creatine a day just to, again, keep those levels high for training. Again, not getting any from food. It doesn't have any calories. It's just a way to keep the creatine stores high in the body, and even for the brain health, just to keep those high. Did some digging into that and figured out that was fine. So continued taking creatine through that. Otherwise, nothing else. Some people do like coffee or bone broth or like natural flavorings, but I just chose to stay away with that. There's some stuff you can do for sure, but I didn't want to go. I just wanted to cut out everything, even debated doing some caffeine during it, but ultimately just decided to stay away from that, which was a really good call in the end, which I'll get to. But yeah, so basically just water, electrolytes, creatine throughout the 12 days. And days 1 through 3 were pretty tough. And honestly, that's where a large majority of long duration fasts fail, especially if you've never done it before, is during those first 3 days after just reading into it and experiencing it. That's where definitely some headaches, just to, especially if you habitually take some caffeine, just not taking that, as well as some little bit of dehydration and maybe just some irritability from not having food or caffeine. And it comes in waves throughout those 3 days. Like I felt pretty prepared just because of the 36-hour fast I've done. So first day wasn't bad because I knew what to expect and how hunger comes in waves, feel it around your meal times. And it's triggered by, so hunger, what you feel is triggered by ghrelin, the hunger hormone, spikes around mealtime. So yeah, especially during those first 3 days, really feel it during meal times, the stomach rumbling, as well as just the mental side of, okay, this is your time to eat. Why are you not eating right now? And just kind of fighting through that. And so just got to kind of battle through those first 3 days and just realize it's going to be tough getting out of your routine and taking on that hunger, that irritability, that headaches, but it's just part of it. And I'll get into it once you get past that. It's much smoother sailing from there. But yeah, by day 4, hunger had mostly disappeared. Kind of day 4 and 5, body continually shifts more and more into ketosis. So your glycogen stores, basically your carb stores, get fully depleted. So your body can't run on those carbs or glycogen anymore. So it's running purely on fat. So great fat burning source, fasting obviously, but from days 4 on, your body is fully running in ketosis, running fully on your fat and using fat on fuel. It's not going to take muscle for fuel at all until that's when like starvation happens. And I'm a little, relatively to like testimonies I read, a little lighter and much lower body fat than most people do it. So for me, that probably happened maybe day 40 or beyond, but for a lot of people it can go 50, 60 days. I believe the longest fast on record is 382 days by a very overweight man, but body ran purely on fat for 382 days, no food, and got down to 160 or 180 pounds. So you can go a long time depending on your body fat and body weight, but your body's running fully on those fat stores. And it's just a efficient energy source for the brain and body. And with training or staying active, I'm a bit of a psycho, so I still trained every day through it, which maybe wouldn't recommend for everyone, but did a lot of research into it and was pretty well prepared going into it. And so still did my normal training split, alternating upper lower body, just dialed back the volume and intensity big time. Didn't do more than 5 reps for anything, just kind of basic movements my body was familiar with, nothing too crazy, just good range of motion, focusing on mobility, still loading up a decent amount, maybe getting up to 70-80% when I'm at the highest, and still felt surprisingly good through that, but didn't want to push it beyond. Still walked about 30 minutes a day. I do 2 15-minute walks or 3 10-minute walks. If you're not working out, probably recommend walking more than that just to keep your body feeling good, retain muscle, and especially if we work out a lot, just stay decently active. So even walking 1 to 2 hours if you're not working out, but I was still working out for at least an hour every day and walking on top of that, just to stay moving throughout the day. And still golfed a ton, almost every day, and honestly felt really good on the golf course. Still driving about, or like hitting the ball the same yardage, so I didn't have to adjust yardages or anything, which I was worried about, but honestly felt totally normal and good while golfing. So that was really cool to experience. Some things suffered with, so like body, the CNS, central nervous system, and like power output. A lot of that is based on your glycogen stores, so it comes from those carbs. And by the time day 3, day 4, those were depleted, definitely some things suffered quite a bit. Like cardio, I didn't get out of, I stayed in like zone 1, zone 2. So 110 to 140 beats per minute, more steady state, or 1 minute on, 1 minute off. Didn't get too crazy with that, but didn't have much drive or push there to go higher than that, which kind of expected. And then like plyometrics, I kept it smooth, or like sprinting, just kept it smooth, but didn't really have much to give there either. Or like super high loads, I pushed it a little bit, maybe too much to the edge a few times, and just didn't have much beyond one or 2 or 3 reps, especially for those main movements. But honestly, mostly everything else, like I said, felt pretty good, like strength wise, range of motion wise, and really recovered pretty well, just because growth hormone just spikes a crazy amount, like higher and higher as you go, just to retain your muscle. So especially during sleep. So growth hormone levels get insanely high. Like I could be misquoting that, but up to 500% higher than normal. So that's what helps to retain your muscle and help you recover. And so I can't say I really experienced soreness at all throughout it. And part of that was from dialing it back, but I was worried I was going to be getting sore quite a bit throughout it. But honestly felt really good recovery wise, and was able to, just continue working out through it. And obviously the motivation and stuff wasn't always there. It was more so just get through it, just maintain. Some days I didn't have energy, but it was also a great time to just worship or listen to worship music and allow that to carry me through. And so that was just a cool time to worship and just get closer to God through working out, instead of listening to podcasts or contemporary music. It really didn't like satisfy me like normal, I guess. So just a good time to lean on worship music and use those moments for worship. So that was a good experience and helped me carry through. And then, like I said, the body is in ketosis by that 72-hour mark, so just relied on that for fuel. So decent like endurance, but again, just not a whole lot of pop or zip, if you will. It's hard to explain, but yeah, just overall surprised how good I felt. My joints felt really good. I was worried, like still doing some pounding jumps and stuff, that like my knees would get really sore, but honestly I've come out of it even feeling better, just because part of that fasting, reducing inflammation, I think helped out quite a bit from maybe just some lingering inflammation from training for so long. And so honestly, like knees feel great, back feels great, joints feel great in general. So yeah, if you're dealing with a joint pain too or inflammation, definitely recommend longer fasts like this. But some other physical things, I talked about like how low my heart rate gets during those fasting days, and this definitely carried throughout the fast. I'd say my average resting heart rate throughout the 12 days was like right around 40 or just under 38 to 40. And that's waking resting heart rate. During sleep, it would get as low as like 33 to 35. So body is totally in a parasympathetic nervous state, which honestly really good for me as well. No caffeine and not processing food. So the body just gets super relaxed, and doing that for 12 days has to be super healthy for the system, just calming the body, reducing cardiovascular strain, and just a good reset. And honestly, that's carried through these early days of breaking the fast. I'm 5 days out of it by now, and my resting heart rate still the last few days has been pretty low. So maybe something that'll carry forward going forward. That's with ramping up training and ramping up caffeine a little bit, but that's been surprising to see as well. Sleep was actually pretty solid overall. I was worried about that as well. And I know that happens for sure with longer fasts. Your body just doesn't need to sleep as long because it's not recovering from processing food and training as hard. I actually slept really quite well just because, again, heart rate super low, body super relaxed. So maybe woke up a little earlier than normal some days, but overall sleep was really solid. And then some other weirdish things like side effects. Your tongue gets this like white tongue coating, which is totally normal into the fast, but started seeing that like day 9 more so, just from your body, that body being in ketosis, but also just the body detoxing in so many ways. So there's some serious detoxing that goes on through, obviously not as many bowel movements during a fast. I think I maybe had 2, sorry if that's TMI, but obviously the body's not processing food, but detoxing kind of happens through like urine or sweat or like pores in the body. So which can seem a little much, but it's just the body's healing process. And part of that is that tongue getting that coating with it. So that was super interesting. I knew what to expect, so it didn't throw me for a loop, but just a weird feeling. And then I felt like days 9 through 12 also like really cold, like metabolism obviously not as high, body fat's way lower, body can't stay as warm, so metabolism dropped a lot and reduced, like body's not processing food. So it was really cold, it was hard to stay warm, so warm showers helped a fair amount. And so I just dealt with that. And then standing up, basically every time I stood up, I would stand up too quickly sometimes, but basically those last few days would black out pretty much every time I stood up, and that's kind of part of it. So I just got to sit up or hold on to something after you stand up, but I'd forget about it sometimes and just have to gather myself for 20 seconds. So that's kind of part of it. Also had that, I did a trap bar deadlift one of the days and probably went a little too heavy. It was definitely blacking out toward the ends of those sets. Yeah, probably wasn't very smart. So decided to cut that, but you learn through experience, you learn the hard way. Overall weight loss, so like I said, started at 191.6 and got down to 172.6. So lost 19 pounds, pretty much all fat loss, but also some water and glycogen depletion from that. Normally the muscle in the body stores water and glycogen, but those get depleted. So some weight loss comes through that. But yeah, I lost probably 15 good pounds of fat. And honestly, I thought I'd shoot up pretty quickly, but it's day 5 and I weighed 174 this morning. I'm not in a rush to put that back on super fast. I think that'll just come with getting back into training harder and again, eating more calories. But if you're looking to lose fat, again, obviously shouldn't be the main intention, but definitely a great byproduct of that. So yeah, I lost 19 pounds overall, which kind of was a little more than I was expecting. But like I said, I'm usually 185. So I guess if you look at it that way, it was only like 12 or 13 pounds, which is a little more normal. But that's kind of weight loss wise what happened. And then I hit on some of those physiological but deeper healing benefits out of obviously dealing with autophagy, immune system reset, helping the body helping with insulin sensitivity, which carries on even through the fast. So how you react to higher carb foods, body just becomes much better at responding to those and just aiding in overall metabolic health. And like I said, just a great gut reset without the stomach processing food, just a way to reset, allow the stomach to heal, allow the microbiome to rebalance a little bit. So physical side, that's what the experience was.